Hello, the title of this video is Interesting Facts about Sitemap. So here we are starting with the first fact, which is about separate sitemaps. It says that you don't have to create separate XML sitemaps for different types of content like videos, articles, news or categories. This means that if you are creating different sitemaps, like one for video, one for post and pages and categories and tags and things like that, then you don't have to create it. It is not necessary. However, if you have a big website, it might be helpful and useful if you organize that content in different sitemaps. The next is similar to the first one, which is about sitemap index file. It says that when dealing with a larger site, you want to make a sitemap index file that links to all other types of sitemap. So it means that you make a single sitemap file which lists all the other sitemap that you have. So suppose you make a single file which has links to image sitemap, your video sitemap, news sitemap, post, pages, tags and categories. All of those sitemap are included in a single file. So I will show you the sitemap index file three different ways. So this is the sitemap of SEO Roundtable. This is a normal sitemap and it only has links to two different sitemap, which is the main sitemap of the website and the news sitemap. So this is a sitemap index file and it only has two links. Similarly, this is a sitemap which is created by Yoast on the Yoast website, and they have sitemaps like post, pages and video sitemap and other different types of sitemap. So this is a sitemap index file, how it looks like. So when you will click on this one, you will get a list of all the pages in this particular sitemap. Similarly, this is the sitemap index file of a rank math plugin which is on the rank math's website. So they have different sitemaps like post, pages, product and the local and video sitemap. So these are all the different sitemaps, and this is a sitemap index file, and it contains 9 different sitemaps. Because we have not talked about the sitemap index file tags before, so I will introduce them to you briefly. The first one is the sitemap index tag, which is the parent tag of the XML tree. This contains all the other tags. The next one is the sitemap tag. This is a declaration tag for the sitemap, and it is the parent tag for each sitemap listed in the file. So if you have 10 different sitemap, then you would have to use the sitemap tag 10 times. Next is the location tag. It specifies the location or the URL of the sitemap. And the last modified, which is an optional tag. It tells you when the sitemap was last modified. So let me take you through a sitemap that lists all of these tags. So here we are again at the SEO Roundtable sitemap, and as you can see, this is the main declaration tag, which is the sitemap index tag. Here it is the closing tag, and this is about one single sitemap. So it includes sitemap, the location. Location is the URL of the sitemap, so this is the URL of the sitemap. It also has the optional tag, which is the last modified tag, and this is the date when it was last modified. It is a good to have thing. If you don't want to include it, then it's up to you, but it's good to have thing. And this is about a different sitemap. So all of this is about a different sitemap. So here we have a different sitemap, which is a news sitemap and the normal sitemap. Now we are talking about the news sitemap. It says that in the news sitemap, only add URLs that are published in the last 2 days. We have talked about this thing before, but I wanted to remind you because it is an important one, that if you are making a news sitemap, you only want to include URLs that are published in the last 2 days and not older than that. The next fact is about Google's Ping tool. This tool is used for submitting sitemaps to Google. There are other ways to submit sitemap to the Google, and we have discussed those in the last videos. So it says the Google Ping tool, which works like this. This is the URL, and it can be used, but there is no guarantee that it will make Googlebot crawl your website. So even if you will use this command, even if you will do this, it is not guaranteed that Google will crawl your website. There are other ways where you can submit the sitemap to Google. One of the most effective ways is through Google Search Console. This is also one of the ways, and it is not important that it works still today. However, Google still have this as an option in their Google documentation. The next fact is about canonical URLs. It says that pick a canonical URL for each of your pages and submit them in a sitemap. So it says that you don't have to add the duplicate pages in your sitemap. Suppose you have a URL and you have 10 different versions of this page, and you have added maybe anchor text or URL parameters. So you don't have to include all of these pages in your sitemap. Only add the canonical URLs of each page in your sitemap, because when you submit the preferred canonical URL in the sitemap, it is a great way that you can define canonicals for a larger site. So suppose you have tens of thousands and millions of pages on your website, and you want to define canonicals for these pages, so you can actually add the preferred canonical URLs, and it is a great way to tell Google that they are canonicals for a larger site. The next fact is about non-indexed pages. It says that if all URLs in the sitemap are not getting indexed, then it is no use to make a separate sitemap file for non-indexed pages. Instead, you should work on those pages to make them better. Suppose you have a sitemap for only your posts of your website, like the blog posts, and you are noticing that out of those 100 URLs that you have submitted, only 40 URLs got indexed and rest 60 are not getting indexed or crawled by Google. So in those cases, you don't have to make a separate file just for the non-indexed pages. Google will pick those pages to crawl and index if they want to. Instead of making Google crawl it forcefully, you should work on those pages to make them better. There can be scenarios that the content is not good enough, or there is some content issues. Then you should make this a priority, that you are working on the page to make it better, instead of just forcing Google by doing 20,000 different ways that you should crawl it. Instead, you should just make it better. The last fact that I have for you is the location of the sitemap. It says that Google does not care about the location of your sitemap URL in your robots.txt file. This simply means that if you have declared a robots.txt file on your website, most of the times the robots.txt file is included in the last of the robots.txt file. So the location doesn't matter, even if you declare it in the first line or the last line or anywhere else. It doesn't really matter. All it matters is that you should include your sitemap file in your robots.txt file, so that bots would know where it is, so that they can crawl them. And yeah, that's it for this video. I will link to this slide in the description so that you can check it out. And yeah, thanks.